don't know what you did, but you did it right. Girl, you make it look so easy. Everywhere you go, here's turning left and right. Can't say you a dime, you're a 20 piece. Cause girl, you're the reason I be acting funny. Everything in me telling me don't let you get away. And all the guys looking like they wanna love you. Every day your body got that over my dead body. Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? With your hair done, nails done, when you put that clothes on. Why you gotta look so good? With your hair done.
Okay, so I guess that's gonna be the opening question. All you ladies on the panel, why y'all gotta look so good? Why? Tell me. And all the faces look just alike. Maybe that's why they look so good to me. I'm a little bit, not objective. But anyway, good evening, beautiful people and my beautiful panelists. And I want to thank you for tuning into the Voices of Change only on Intellectual Radio, the house that Earl built. Earl is a Black entrepreneur and owner of the station. And my name is Jan, and sometimes it's Madison. Friend named me Madison because she said, I'm so West Side, I'm gonna call you Madison. So sometimes I go by that. I'll be your host this evening, whoever I am. All of us got a little bit dual personality in us. For today's show, we have a diverse panel, and we're going to discuss various topics, including the recent Emmett Till movie, the CTU, Chicago Union, COVID-19, and anything else that may pop up. I am so fortunate and blessed to have all my sisters with me. So we're going to start with introductions. I'm going to say your name, and you could say, you don't have to give a long dissertation, just say something brief, whatever you want the audience to know about. You could be 1 or 2 sentences. Romaine, let's start with you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so excited to be back on the air and back on Voices of Change.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Romaine. And Joyce, what about you?
Good evening, everyone. Glad to be back. Happy New Year.
And Elizabeth.
Happy New Year, everyone. I'm coming from the Queen City in Charlotte, North Carolina. So delighted to be on the air. Hey.
And why do they call that the Queen City? There are a lot of queens here.
Yes, there are. Me. Okay.
Okay. See, Joyce. See. I see. Miriam Makeba.
I think the minute she entered, it became Queen City. I am Miriam Makeba, and I am the youngest of the clan.
Hey, Miriam Makeba. And, Voices of Change, Cynthia's just a regular. I don't even have to have her introduce herself. But go ahead. Cynthia, tell us 2 sentences about yourself.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Renee Oda, and I am the eldest of the clan. I am the oldest of the family. I am just so excited and so thrilled to be here with my lovely sisters.
And we're excited to have you here. Now, everyone who watches Voices of Change, they know that we read a scripture to start off each show. I'm looking for some comments. So you guys say hello, say hi, say what's up. Let us know you're watching. Come on, say something. Don't be shy. I want to see some comments. But for today, I'm going to read the scripture from Matthew 6, verse 33. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. This is self-explanatory. It just talks about prioritizing keeping the kingdom first and keeping God first in your life. So we're going to start out. Let's talk about, and I think most of us have seen it. Oops, I see some comments. Can I read some comments first before we get into a little discussion? I see a comment from Ola. Hey, Ola, how are you? It's so good to see you.
Hi, Ola.
Thank you for tuning in. And a friend of everybody. Everybody knows Connie. Hey, Constance, how are you? And Carolyn Pryor, a longtime friend.
Carolyn.
Carolyn. And Taylor, what's up, my little man?
What's up,
So good you're on.
Hey. Love bug. Mommy loves you.
And Ola has another comment to make.
My beautiful aunties love you. We love you too.
Oh wow! So we're going to start out talking about wow. This was a heavy one, so I kind of wanted to read those comments to kind of lighten the load. The Emmett Till movie. You know, someone called me up at the last minute and told me turn to Channel 7 or ABC here in Chicago. It's on, and I saw it. Anybody want to start out giving me your thoughts on it?
Honestly, I heard what we saw was nothing compared to what was seen by someone viewing his body.
So you're saying that, wait now, because the body was displayed and out for everybody, it was in all the magazines and everything. I heard that too, though, Makiba, though. But they said even with his face being distorted and all swollen up and all, it was much worse than that. Yeah.
And the thing about it was he didn't even die until the shot to the head. That's when he died.
I was wondering about, how you wonder when someone is, when they brutalize them like that. I was wondering, did they shoot him right away and then do the ugly stuff? Or did they? Now, we've been hearing this story since we were kids, right?
Yeah.
So the story I heard was that they cut it off and stuck it in his mouth.
That's what I heard too.
Oh.
Well, I mean, there was nothing in that storyline that really surprised me because we sort of grew up with this story. I remember Dad telling graphic details of what happened to this young man and about the community, and especially when we have discussions on Mississippi. And I think that there was nothing. The mother. I think what I really liked was seeing the strength of the mother.
Yeah.
And how she refused to let go. She refused to quit. She refused, she demanded an answer. And then another thing I was observing, I think I was talking to Janice or Romaine about this, or maybe it was Joyce, the hopelessness of the people. I remember when they came in there and when they were trying to tell what happened, that got to me of how they put us in that class, how they treated us, and how they just disregard us as humans. That's what got to me. What happened to Emmett Till. Of course, that got to me. But like I said, I grew up with that. Until you actually see it really, the struggle that African Americans have to go through, and especially our men.
Yeah, it's undeniable and it's unfathomable. It's like, how do you explain this? I have two boys. Like, if I told them that, they think I was lying.
Yeah, but think about it. We had, growing up, we had four brothers.
Yeah.
Dad was from the Delta. He was from the Delta area, him and Mom. So they're very familiar. When you talk about Money, Mississippi, he used to tell us about Money, Mississippi, and other parts where when they'd walk down the street, the white people expect them to cross the street or get off the same
road.
So
Right.
I thought that was just crazy. But this is something that, God, the whole thing, it upset me so much watching it. Even though, like Cynthia said, we've been hearing about it all our lives. We've been hearing about it all our lives. But Dad never let those boys go to Mississippi. Did you notice that? I mean, think about it. It was four of us. We went to Detroit all the time. But he didn't let the boys go to Mississippi. He detested Mississippi. Even as people started to migrate back to the South, I remember him saying, I don't want to go to the South. We're not saying that the North is utopia. We're not saying that the North is perfect.
Right.
Chicago is one of the most segregated cities to this day. But the South, they ran him out of there. Think about, I remember him telling us about some guy who they were tipped off or they were going to hang him. And they saw his wife and she was like 8 months pregnant. They hung her on a tree and split her stomach open. The baby was hanging out. And that was as an example to everyone. And to Cynthia's point, the fear on their eyes when those men came to the house to get that boy. That was so disheartening. So you wonder why everybody from the South back in the day, or at least people who I knew from the South, had a whole house full of guns.
Yeah. Yeah, facts.
That that was disheartening. And it was a catalyst. It wasn't what really started the civil rights movement, because there were other things. There was 1954. There was other things that actually happened. But this was one of the things that was a catalyst to get Dr. Martin Luther King, because Emmett Till was a baby. He was 14 years old. And the lady, when she was 72 years old, Bryant, well, her name wasn't Bryant then, because from what I understand, she got married a couple times, and somebody interviewed her for a book. And she was 72 years old and said that she kind of stretched the truth. In other words, she lied. He did not grab her waist. He did not whisper obscenities. And that's really one of the reasons when she said that, why, but those guys would have got off anyway. But that was kind of one of the things why they got off.
All they needed was an excuse. He looked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
well,
really.
The whole thing was he was a black guy, and they felt he kind of stepped out of his lane. But he did the one mistake that so many of us do. We listen to the wrong people. We were talking about that because he was there. He was a newbie. He was from the North. He had a target on his back. They were talking about, hey, Chicago, hey, Chicago, hey, Chicago. And they were telling him to do things that they knew would be detrimental or possibly deadly. To go in there and ask her for a date and do this and do that. He didn't do it, obviously. But, and I only wish that those young men would have been honest enough and told the father, the uncle, whoever he was, what the boy did, so they could have got him out of town. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything happens for a reason.
I believe that.
And also I could say that also brings back that not everyone have your best interest in mind.
Absolutely.
And even as adults.
In regards to what the times were at the times. I mean, that is in the 50s, in regards to the laws, the black right rules, whatever have you. Even that is up in Chicago, all over segregation, whatever was taking place. And a lot of people from the South actually end up moving to, as far as the Midwest, etc. So with that in mind, certain things, you did not do. You do not talk to, white females, this, that, and the other. So why his friends egged him on like that, calling it peer pressure, whatever have you. And of course, as you said, everything happens for a reason. But had, of course, they've been truthful, came up front. I mean, even though they were not sometimes truthful as far as with our parents, especially since they were told just not to go there anyways. But perhaps something could have, perhaps it would have been a better outcome because they would have put him on a train, got him out of Chicago.
Absolutely.
Know that was a death sentence. It was a death sentence.
Right. Yeah, but you know what? When you think about it in retrospect, with our respect to the Emmett Till family, everything happens for a reason. That was a catalyst that really jump-started everything else. And I know we had civil rights issues way before Emmett Till got, died, but with him being that age and so brutalized like he was, everyone looked at this and I just applaud her how she went there and saw him like that and had an open casket. 100,000 people saw him. I mean, the city of Chicago and NAACP and all those organizations, they rallied around her. And I remember talking to a friend of mine who isn't black, and she was saying, she's heard of Emmett Till too. I'm like, well, yeah, not hell, but everyone's heard of Emmett Till. This is this is a story, this is historic. And she says, but that was, you're focusing. So I don't even know why you're focusing so much on that, because that was 66 years ago or 60 some years ago. And I said, it was, but it's still happening today. Eric Martin, Michael Brown, Akaya Gurley, Tamar Rice, Freddie Gray, Philanthropist, Stephon Clark, Constantine, Atania Jefferson, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin. I mean, you can't even begin to name all the people that the same thing happened to. And this is your fast forward in 60 plus years. This is relevant. And I'm so glad this story's being told.
Absolutely.
We got a few comments. We got one from Constance Stewart. She says animals and they call us animals. That, you know what? I think they even made reference to that in the movie, didn't they? Didn't they say something like savages, or they think we're savages or something like that?
Yes, she
Well,
did.
hell, you are savages. But to Cynthia's point, up until not too long ago, they really didn't consider us as a man. I mean, think about it. When you talk about when you go way, 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 way back, and they brought us over here in slave ships, don't think that they thought of us as human beings. When they made laws, it was what, 2/3 of a man. Even
Yeah, but
going,
they don't consider us much of a man or woman now.
I know, but
They
I
That's
just
yeah,
true.
tolerate us.
Yeah.
well, yeah, they tolerate us, and now it's in the
And they
mode
still
of,
have that superiority, like they are still,
Better.
even the poorest is still better than the richest.
Entitlement.
Entitlement. Thank
because
you, Liz.
it's
Exactly.
it's because of the skin color. They feel
Because
superior.
of our skin
But
color.
now the problem is the world is getting so brown. You
I
can
know.
I went somewhere and I was telling somebody, one of you guys, I was like, I don't know what they were, what anybody was. Everybody looks kind of brown because everyone's mixing so much. But you better stay woke because those same few people, they're going to fight tooth and nail to retain power.
That's right. That's right.
It doesn't matter if you're the majority or the minority if they're ruling with a ruling hand. So you have to stay woke and you can't allow that to happen. Think about South Africa. Think about how long all that went on.
Apartheid. Yeah.
Oh, anyway, so, and I have another. This is from Earl Winfrey, the house that Earl built. This is the owner of Intellectual Radio, the Black radio station, the stories they don't want told. And I am so glad they told this story. It just, even knowing it and talking about it and writing reports on it, that story bothered me so much.
It should.
Believe me,
It's
there's a
true.
lot more.
It should.
I know. I think Liz and I've been to the Smithsonian Institute, African American Smithsonian Institutes, and they have a whole exhibit on this,
I heard
and
that.
they tell the story. But if you really take your time and go through that museum, you will come out in tears
Mhm.
because it's our history,
I know.
and as well as it's beautiful, you also see the suffering and the pain and the struggle that we as people had to go through, the separation, the identity crisis, all of that, which is still going on today.
But that's what's so disheartening. You know what? That is so
Now,
disheartening.
that's what's disheartening. Yes.
What's disheartening is that knowing that backdrop, knowing that from a historical context, and you look at how it is today, and I'm leery about going out at night, or I'm leery about being carjacked, or I'm leery about someone who looks like me doing this to me. How did we get here? I don't know how we got here.
And and I think that we went through some. What was that place in Detroit we went to, and they had a stimulation of how we were on the ships. Remember that, Joyce or Liz? We went through one of those.
Yeah, the museum in Detroit.
Right, and they just had a special exhibit.
Yeah, that was deep.
And they had the simulation of us on the ship,
Mhm.
and we walked through that, and I'm telling you, I felt their souls.
You did?
It was scary.
That's how I feel in South
They
Carolina.
actually had not human, but they actually had. It was crazy. It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was.
Wow.
You could feel. You could see the nastiness. You know how they let us be in filth and.
Yeah.
Our own vomit.
Yes. Yeah.
Species, whatever. I mean, because but just like you would do animals, and you wouldn't do animals like that. Think about it.
You wouldn't even do
Like, you
animals
wouldn't
like
do
that.
animals like that.
They have more respect for animals than
Take
they
a
do
hose
us.
and hose them down.
Okay, so we're going to switch this to a celebration of one's life, someone that made a huge difference. Let's talk about Sidney Poitier. Does anyone? I know. Does anyone have any? Oh my gosh, he was like a black man's man. That man was just so. Anyway, go on, Nikki.
I have to tell you the story of exactly what happened when I heard that. I got this group chat from everybody in the family saying that he had passed. And I was in the middle of a class, a college class for my scholars, a dual collars class. So I said, oh my God. They're like, Miss Oda Moore, what happened? I said, Sidney Poitier died. And they said, who?
They didn't know who he was.
So guess what we did all day?
They didn't know who he was. Oh wow,
I believe that.
But
Yeah,
they're
I believe that too.
How
I
old are
believe
they?
that.
94.
Oh,
94.
Yeah.
The kids are range from 14 to I don't know 18.
14. Okay.
18, yeah.
Yeah, they
14,
probably
18.
wouldn't. Nor their parents.
Yeah,
So
they
they
didn't
knew
know.
who he was when it was over.
There you go.
So you took the whole day talking about.
I sure
oh
did.
my God.
We talked about Raising Out of the Sun. Tell me a Sidney Poitier movie. I don't even know how to spell his name. Well, this is what we're gonna do today. So they knew who it was when it was all over.
Well, good.
Kind of
Good.
sad.
Good for you, Makiba.
We are
That is
supposed to be
good.
teachers. That's our role.
Absolutely.
That's our role. We are supposed to be
Absolutely.
I was on Instagram or one of those things, Instagram or I forgot what it was. And John, our brother, did a beautiful tribute to Sidney
Oh, I
Poitier.
saw it. I
It
saw
was
it.
absolutely it was really because he said everything that we lived. I
That we-
mean,
that we
we
were
talked
taught.
about because this man stood for like Makiba said, he was, and I'm not overshadowing either because I only know what he project to us. I don't know him
all any
personally.
of us know. Yeah.
All I know is that he was a person for social change, and he didn't just say social change; he lived it. He was out there walking in the civil rights movements.
Yeah.
He was a leading actor. He came from nothing to build himself up to where he's at today.
Yeah.
I mean, and he lived a full and good life from what I know. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, from what we heard. Right.
He left a legacy. The things that he accomplished, they cannot take from him.
Yeah.
They can't take none of that from him. Every man should emulate to be just a small part, take a small part of Sidney Poitier because he walked in dignity. Even the movies that he did, he didn't do all movies. All of his movies was
He picked up.
Positive.
He
He was
picked
a
up.
black man's man. I just love
He was a black man's man.
Even how he stood so erect and so proud and just
That's right.
Elegant, grace.
Yes.
He was a
Yes.
true measure of a man.
yes,
You
he
wouldn't
was.
see him running around in a dress and
And
a
he's
wig.
got the eyes too.
He ain't gonna do all that.
He also financed a lot of the civil rights movements.
He did.
too.
He did. He was an
he was great.
Him and Harry Belafonte.
Oh,
Yes.
Harry Belafonte.
Yes.
He's another
That's
one.
right. That's
Wow,
right.
he's up there too, I think.
He's up
Very
there.
nice.
Well, they're all in
Yes.
the same
They're all
area.
the
I
same,
mean,
yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, Harry.
But thank you, Makiba, for doing that.
I did.
And that's something I think I was talking with somebody the other day, and then I said, instead of you guys getting mad at these young people, use this for a teachable moment.
Absolutely.
We should use it for a teachable moment.
Yeah,
It's just
it was
as
a
simple as that.
pleasure. It was a pleasure. I wanted to fill them with what I was filled with growing up.
That's
I
right.
wanted
Right,
to
right.
share with them. You don't know about it. It's okay. We're going to learn about them today.
Right,
Let's
they're
go ahead.
14, so.
Absolutely.
You should
Of
go
course.
on Instagram and pull off John's tape.
But I saw it. I saw it.
Yeah.
It was really nice. I
Yeah.
can definitely share it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was on
Share that
Instagram.
with
I'm not
your
on
kids.
Instagram. Okay, that's right.
You better get on. You better get on.
It was good.
Instagram, sis.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the teacher strike. Romaine, and I know you're not in Chicago, but that even makes it better because you're not here. You got anything to say about the teacher strike? Then we talk about that.
Yes,
Just as a
I just
backdrop.
want to say that I stand with the teachers.
Oh,
I do not think they are asking anything too much. I think your mayor is going a step too far. Here's my opinion of it. I don't think they're asking anything crazy. We're in a crisis here, and they have to look out not only for the students, but they have to also look out for their families.
okay. Let me give you guys the backdrop because none of you are from the Chicago area. Okay, so the teachers are not working, and they're striking because the proposal requests the students begin remote learning on January 12th before returning in person on the 18th, unless the state or city health departments determine that conditions are not safe for in-person school. CTU's proposal also requests that CPS randomly test at least 10% of the student and staff population every week at every school. That program would allow students to opt out. The proposal would also require CPS to pause in-person learning for 14 days and transition fully to remote instruction citywide if the COVID-19 test positivity rate in Chicago increases for 7 consecutive days, remains at 15% higher than the rate from 1 week prior for each of those days, and reaches 10% or greater on the 7th day. In other words, some people feel that they're leaning on that strong union of theirs because they're used to working from home, and they feel like that it's not really a safe environment and they don't want to go to school. But yet you have nurses and doctors and essential workers and everyone else that signed up for their jobs, and they're going to work every day. Some people say, well, where does it end? Where does it begin? I don't know.
Yeah, but I agree with Romaine. I mean,
I do
think
too.
about it. They're not in the class, those nurses and doctors and all that stuff, they're not in the class with 20 or 30 kids 8 hours a day,
That's right.
sniffing nose, wiping nose. Oh my gosh, no.
So I have to agree with her on that. But when you say CPS, let's be clear. I come from social services background. That's not for Child Protective Services. That's for Chicago Public Schools.
Right.
When I read that at first, I'm thinking CPS.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chicago Public Schools. All right.
It's okay. I work actually in a school.
And are you going to class?
We're in school full time.
Okay.
Yeah, so is Virginia Beach, apparently, according to Ola.
Yep. Go on, Makiba.
We're in school full time. We take temperatures first thing in the morning. If you're sick or if you have any symptoms of COVID, as we all know, sore throat, headaches, blah, 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 we send you to the nurse. We call your mom. We take you home. You can't come back until you get tested. I'm going to be real honest with you. I'm vaccinated, so I feel a certain kind of safety, but I've seen people that are vaccinated die. So it's one of those things where I think we should pause for a little bit personally, because Cynthia's right. I wear a mask everywhere I go. In school for 8 hours a day, I wear a mask. I can't make the kids wear one, although I honestly say, hey, don't forget that that's a part of our culture at our school. You have to wear your mask. You have to wear your mask. You have to wear your mask. They just, I don't know what I guess an old saying would be, some kids don't believe, I don't know. They just don't believe anything. They think they're so invincible. Although some people are getting sick. I've had people at the school whose families have passed from COVID. They're still not taking it very seriously.
Right. And what about the schools that don't have proper ventilation? A lot of the schools are old. There's so many other issues. And what about the cafeteria workers, the janitors? It's a whole lot of stuff. And now they're trying to make them even come back sooner, which I think is even more ridiculous. It's just really
you're talking about the
sad situation
now. You're talking about at first it was 14 days and it was 10 days. Now it's 5 days.
Right.
I say send them back. Just as long as they can socially distance, send them back. You guys, COVID is going to be here for a minute.
But you can't socially distance with 30 people in the class list. Please tell me how you're going to do that.
Okay. Since most of you feel that they should be out, okay.
Nope.
How long should they be out?
Let me be clear. I don't feel like we should be out. I think we should be in school. And the reason I believe that is because I feel like our children have suffered drastically.
They're already a year behind plus.
Because they're behind. I think
our kids are really behind.
I think they need to be in the classroom, and I think they need to have instructions. I think face-to-face is what they need.
So if you lose a few along the way, that's okay, right?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
But you guys listen, billions of dollars was going to these school systems. And probably, I'm not sure about Chicago, but in most bigger cities like Atlanta and stuff, probably a third or half of the school systems aren't properly ventilated. They're really not up to par for children to go back.
And ours probably aren't either. I would dare to venture. But my question again, how long should they be out? A month? Should they be out 2 months? Should they wait till the pandemic's over? Should they wait till the rate is a certain level?
I think if everybody would kind of get on the same page, and if the more people that are vaccinated, the less we're going to see this too.
Now, Joyce makes a very good point. Now, my recommendation would be to line every kid up that's not vaccinated and give them a vaccination.
Oh, wait.
And then send them to school.
Listen to this.
I mean,
listen to this.
That's what I would do.
Listen to this. Carolyn Pryor. I'm sorry about this, Carolyn. I've been vaccinated fully, ended up in the hospital for 5 days with COVID pneumonia, 6 weeks out of work. Thanks to family and friends who've helped me pay my bills, and I mask up and go to work. In-class mask up or e-learning should be a choice of the parent.
Okay.
So okay, that's true. But because you're vaccinated does not mean you can't get sick.
That's right.
So we're going to talk about that.
I mean, so that's another whole,
that's a whole nother
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But,
matter of fact, you will get sick if you get COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So most of you are generally saying that they should be able to stay at home until they can agree on it. Basically.
No, I think it's half and half.
Okay.
I mean, it's
No
2
wonder it's
to
such a
3.
problem. Okay. Okay.
You can't even get it together, right?
I think
I know. It's like
that
it's
the
only a couple
schools
of
should be
us.
accountable.
That's
If you're
right.
saying that the kids should go back, is the ventilation okay? When
That's
they drink
right.
water, what about the cafeteria?
That's right. That's
If you have
right.
all that going, now don't get me wrong, some schools have that and they're going back, and that's great. I'm speaking of the schools that don't have that.
No, I agree.
So
And you know, some of our schools do not have that.
Exactly.
we have old schools too. We have newer.
That's right. We have older schools.
You know,
Exactly.
so you're
So you have
basically
ventilation
saying,
problems already.
so you're basically saying that because of the ventilation and obvious structural reasons, and for whatever reason, they shouldn't go back until the positivity rate is whatever the percentage.
No.
I
That's
think
not
what
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the only way to get a control on this is going back to what Joyce said earlier. We're going to have to face the fact that all we know is that if that people who have vaccinations don't get as sick or don't die as much as people without vaccination. That's all we know. So the only safe net that we have so far is the vaccination. And now they can vaccinate kids from what? Kindergarten?
5 years old.
Yeah, now I think it's 5 and up.
So that's your answer.
But wait, now I'm not trying to jump ahead, but I guess I am kind of jumping ahead. A lot of people.
Yes, I do remember that.
vaccinations.
Listen what Carolyn says. Yes, I do remember that.
What?
Vaccinations in school. And they sit
Smallpox
there and
is
line us
mandatory,
up
make it
and shot
mandatory.
us. And left a mark on my arm to this day.
Right,
I'm 100 years old almost.
but
I didn't get the mark.
Make it mandatory.
a lot of people don't. Right now, it isn't mandatory, so we have to deal with right now. A lot of people don't believe in it. So, do you think they're going to get their kids vaccinated?
No. That's
This
why
is
it's going to
what
make it
this is what
mandatory.
I think that,
And that's why we're going back and forth with this like we are.
Exactly.
Man, I see why they can't come to an agreement. Well, then.
we can't come to an agreement. That's the thing. We can't even come to an agreement. I think we're all speaking differently. Like my thing is, it's a hard pill to swallow. I feel like it'd be easy to vaccinate, right? I have a son right now that I have not vaccinated because it's so hard to get him out to get him vaccinated. You know, we've had this going on for 2 years. Why can't we get the vaccination like we get a shingles vaccination in the doctor's office? Why do we have to
Some
go
doctors
to
do give it in their office.
what doctors do?
Mine.
we have. You should live here because they live
Tanya's.
visits. But
Yeah.
that's a whole nother animal.
Jenny's got hers in the doctor's office.
That's what I need.
Constance Stewart said, I think they should have options because the black schools are the ones who aren't equipped for
That's
this
right.
pandemic.
That's
The
right.
funds aren't used to improve these conditions.
That's
Not,
right.
not only are the schools not equipped, we're more likely to get it and to get it more severe. And
That's
we're
right.
talk about that inequity. And
That's
Speak
all
it,
I'm saying.
Constance.
that's a
Speak it,
whole.
Constance. That's
Oh
what
my-
I'm saying.
Oh my
Because
God!
you can't tell me to get on board if you're not giving me the proper stuff that I need in order to fight
Absolutely.
this.
You don't have
There's
the
no way.
ammunition
Right.
that you need.
Now
Absolutely.
do you
And it's not like in Indianapolis. It's not like we're going to Pike Township or Washington Township. I'm talking about IPS, and we know what's in IPS.
Okay.
Let's just really be real.
Okay. So I understand now. Just a little snapshot of why this is such a difficult.
Mm-hmm.
This is really challenging, really difficult. So
It is.
Yes, Janice, because I heard your vice president of something. Oh, of the teachers thing in Chicago. I heard her talking too. She was on CNN or MSN, one of those the other day also.
And
But
she
I'm with her.
advocating against-
I'm with her, not the mayor.
Okay. No, well, I'm not saying anything about my mayor. I'm not saying anything about.
I like Mayor Lightfoot.
I
like her too. I just don't agree with her there. That's all.
Yeah, I don't either. That's
put it out there. I'm just.
But I like her too.
Okay.
But
I
I think,
and agreeing
and
is two
I
different
think,
things.
in all honesty, America is not going to shut down, folks.
They're not.
America, they're not going to close the schools. They are not going to shut down. If we lose a few people along the way, so be it.
Well, thanks, Cynthia.
Well,
No,
wow.
but I'm serious. America's not going to shut down, and we're going to still have people. Because I just got in from Atlanta on the airport. You still got people who are going to be fighting, acting crazy about wearing a mask. You're still going to have people that's not going to get vaccinated. You still got all these discrepancies taking place. So, Joyce and I, we were just talking. We were talking to our own family members.
Right.
We were talking to people. We were saying, well, this is the reason why we're not going to ever get a handle on this particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how we expect for babies to do it?
It's funny that she says that. Everybody can read. At least I'm hoping they can.
We have another comment talking about CPS, South Side, West Side schools, but the schools up north are new and equipped.
That's exactly
right.
Everybody here has been in Chicago. Everybody knows
exactly
South and West Side.
Because if you're new and equipped, yes, you should be in school.
Yep,
You should be in school.
Yep.
No problem.
Some of them barely have a library. I remember when the kids were, we wouldn't even talk about.
The measure of a school, if they don't have a library.
Yeah.
That's a good indicator.
They don't have computers.
They probably don't have ventilation.
That's funny. I was just saying one thing, Janice. Romaine and I went to Costco's, and on Saturdays and Sundays it's super, super busy. So I wanted to get in and get out. We went in there and we stopped counting. There were so many people with masks. It was so discouraging.
You said
that I decided
with mask or without mask?
Without mask.
Okay.
This time is just going crazy. Okay, it says, what happens when the teachers get COVID and the children are not in their presence? We can't continue to keep blaming the students for giving these parents COVID.
We're not blaming the students.
No, we're not.
No, it's not.
You're basically saying that they're in the school. The kids got, whatever. They're wiping their nose, so they are more prone to get COVID. That's just another.
Well, that's because that's just young children. That's all.
Yeah, that's just
them hugging and kissing and that's all.
I used to hate to go to Indianapolis because I'd always come back
flu
sick.
and everything else. That's just kids. That's all.
You also have to realize that I feel very, very strongly on this. I had a conversation with one of my scholars, and she said to me, Miss Odemore, I don't understand. Like, everybody's getting COVID, and all of you adults had the vaccination. Why are we getting COVID? Where'd it come from?
Wait, who said that?
One of my scholars.
It's a virus.
No, she wanted to know if all of the adults are vaccinated.
But all of the adults aren't
they're
vaccinated. Not. If they were,
that's the issue. They're not.
Point. All of them are not. Only a little bit of
oh my God. I thought the CTU would be 3 minutes, you guys. Come on. I thought we'd come to an agreement at least.
No, we're not coming to an agreement. I personally think that we need to understand the facts. We need to understand the severity of it. And then we need to come up with a plan. After we come up with the plan, we need to execute it. So if the plan is to get all the kids and all the adults vaccinated, they need to make the vaccinations more readily available. That has not happened everywhere. Clearly, it's like that in Chicago.
Well, no, I agree with you with that, McKee. But they aren't now. Maybe Chicago, they may be, but they're not readily available.
What aren't readily available?
Sometimes it's like jumping over hoops to get it.
You have to go and make an appointment and figure it out. I mean, like,
and even making an appointment can be.
That's true. I have actually made an appointment for somebody at a CVS or those stores, and you know what? They go there and they tell them, "Oh, we ran out of vaccinations." Really?
Oh, see that's ridiculous.
Really?
We are not going to get through.
But
sorry,
don't go to CVS. Try Walgreens.
Don't go to Kroger either.
Walgreens is just as bad here. That's
don't go to Kroger either.
Kroger's on. No, don't go to Kroger.
You guys, okay. You know what? And I'm really sorry that you guys have time getting the vaccination.
But Janice, do you know what I'm finding with this though?
What?
Even people that are smart, educated, uneducated, it doesn't really matter. When you have all the information, you still feel how you feel.
Yeah.
You're gonna still get 6 different opinions from us 6.
Facts.
And if 20 more people are listening, you're gonna probably get
I know
a mixture of all the opinions.
God.
And you still sometimes you're gonna make good decisions And sometimes you're gonna make stupid decisions.
But you got to make a decision.
It's your decision. You got to live with it.
That's right.
It's just
That's
as
right.
simple as that. That's why I don't even discuss vaccination or nothing like that with people.
Yeah, because you get upset.
Well, you know what? Someone brought up a real good question to me, and I'm going to pose it to you because we're not going to get through this anyway because y'all talking too much. Okay, so the person brought this up because she said, if you were having a dinner party, would you have unvaccinated people there? And I said, no, I don't want them in my house. And here's the question. Here's a question. Okay, so everybody in your house and in your circle is vaccinated, right? Yes. Well, why would you have a problem with an unvaccinated person? If the vaccination should protect you from having a severe case of COVID, then the one who's really at risk, allegedly, is the unvaccinated person. So why would you have a problem having that unvaccinated person?
Okay, I have the answer for that. First of all, we all are different. And secondly, yes, I can be vaccinated, but if you look at the people that are getting it now, I say like what most of them are unvaccinated that are getting the virus. And the people that are vaccinated that are getting, a lot of them have underlying conditions. And that could really get you. If you're a cancer treatment, if you're a dialysis patient, and although you do have the vaccines, it could kick your behind. You may be okay, but you may not also. And those are the ones that it's getting.
Well, I beg to differ a little bit with that, only for the simple fact that, in all honesty, you really do not know who's vaccinated and who's not.
And who's not.
That's true.
No, because they lied.
You don't know if they got all their shots. You don't know, they might have just got one.
That's true.
You don't know.
They have a fake card.
All you could do as an individual is take precautions. And right now is getting your vaccinations, wearing your mask, and washing your hands. So
you are indeed correct.
Having a dinner party, if they come unvaccinated, hey, that's on them. And I don't know what else you can do, because people who fix your food and all that kind of stuff, you don't know if they vaccinated or not.
That's true.
You don't know if they're COVID infected.
Right.
You have no idea.
Yes.
You're taking a chance.
And if I may inject, ladies and gentlemen, just keep in mind that December 11th, I did a 13-point-mile marathon. All right.
Yeah, you did. It was on internet. Yeah.
Yes. And that was a half marathon. On the 17th, I ended up going to a Christmas work party. Ended up being maybe 100, 150 people there. And plus you had to have, as far as the mask on, just
got a big head.
And also I could say that I have been vaccinated.
It was yours.
Call myself relatively, right? 3 days later on that Monday, which I started having symptoms. On that Tuesday, it's the fact that my boss advised me that there were a couple COVID outbreaks, and I ended up getting COVID. And also keep in mind that my symptoms were relatively mild.
Mm-hmm, they were.
But keep in mind that, yes, I did go through it. There's a couple of days that I was fatigued, runny nose, sore throat, etc. But I went through it. So just because you are vaccinated and and plus had your booster or boosters, doesn't mean that you cannot get the virus. In regards to,
and you have to also decide what you're going to do when you do. Just like Cynthia said before, and everyone knows, being vaccinated does not mean you're going to. You're not going to get it, or you're going to get it. Mm-hmm. But certain things that we do, I mean, you can go to the store and get it, because it's a virus. If I'm going to go to a Christmas party with 100 or 150 people, the likelihood is probably a little bit higher that I can possibly get it.
Yeah.
In your face,
and although people did have their mask on Facebook, they did not have their mask on.
Right. They in your face without a mask singing.
Right. So therefore, it's also in what we choose to do too.
Yeah.
Because if you're vaccinated and vaccinate, it's just vaccination. But if you're gonna still continue to risk being around or going out,
you went out.
Well, and so let me also add, Joyce, sister, that I have been inside, pretty much stayed inside for almost 2 years.
Yeah, but that one party did you in when you was taking pictures on Facebook.
Ain't that something?
We all saw it. They all in your face. We all
they say large crowds.
Drinking one hand. No.
They were next to me because I had a video. But yes, you are right in regards to your choices, and
One bad choice
will definitely affect your tomorrow.
And we have got to move on just a little bit. We're going to talk about the timeline for pandemics. Yikes! How can I summarize this? It's so dang many. We've had so many pandemics. Some of the bigger ones was, they call it the Black Death. I think it was called the bubonic plague. I don't know why they call it black, but then again, we know they like to name things negative.
Yeah, everything negative is black.
It took away 51% of the population. That was probably one of the biggest ones. Jesus Christ, that thing was huge. We also had the smallpox outbreak. We had a couple of them. The first one took out 56 million people. That's huge. We also had small ones like the Russian flu, the yellow fever, Spanish flu. What I was surprised at was HIV/AIDS. And this really surprised me because HIV/AIDS took out between 25 and 35 million people. And it's still ongoing today. It hasn't went away.
Yeah.
We had the swine flu. Now, we had SARS, which is kind of a component of our current COVID-19.
Sure, yeah, sure is.
We had Ebola. We had MERS, which is kind of a component of COVID-19. And we have the COVID-19, which to date, as of the end of the year, has taken out 5.5 million people and still going strong. And, so we don't know how many this is going to end up. Unfortunately, a lot of these pandemics hit different populations much more heavier. Like when you talk about the HIV/AIDS hit different populations heavier. There's one of the pandemics hit the Indian people at a huge rate. We can go with COVID-19. COVID-19 seems to be an equal opportunity. When it first came about, it seemed not to touch so much. Joyce Oda. Uh-oh, sorry. Yes. You got kicked out.
It was black on me.
Uh-oh, let's see. Yeah.
Am I still in?
No, you're kicked out. Come back in.
Okay, good. Okay.
Sorry about that. I was just in a meeting when someone did that, and I said that was so rude. I am so sorry about that. And then, as I talked about COVID-19 and how some of them impact different populations, which is really interesting. We're going to have to really speed this up. We had a whole shopping cart of topics to talk about related to COVID. I'm glad Makiba's still on. Look like Cynthia's going out too.
Yeah, I don't know what's
going on. Give us an overview on COVID before you go out.
Yeah, just real quick. So COVID-19 started it actually before 2019, believe it or not. But it started a long time ago, but it wasn't identified in humans.
Okay.
COVID-19 became very, very popular in 2019 towards the end of that year. We've had lots of different variations or different things going on with the CDC. First, they said 14 days isolation. Now they've moved it to 10. Now I think they've even moved it to 5. All that changes and vacillates. There are different strands of COVID. The Omicron, I think, is the latest one. There's Delta. There's all kinds of variances of it. Basically, it's like a flu. It's very similar to a flu. So it's different, and it's very different, and it presents differently in different people. Sore throats, headaches are huge, very, very big headaches. Cough, they call it the COVID cough. Unfortunately, it's kind of weird because it could be a cough, but you could have a cough from taking a medication. Is that Joyce? There she is. She's back. So lots of things like that. So fever. Usually, an adult that has a fever of 100.4 or more, that's considered something that's not normal, and you should get tested for that as well. Shaking, chills, shortness of breath, muscle aches. Fatigue, those sorts of things are very, very common. I, like my sister Elizabeth, got it early in the game. So in 2020, I got COVID in January 2020. I kind of had a headache and I had a runny nose, and I was just like, oh, I got a cold. We had cold before we had COVID, right? So one of my girlfriends at work said, why don't you do what my granny used to do? Put some Vicks at the bottom of your feet, go to sleep, you'll sweat that mess out. So I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do, right? I love Brandy. Brandy, if you're listening, I love you. I did that, and it was because I did that I realized I had COVID because I couldn't smell Vicks. My neighbor, I lived in an apartment at that time. My neighbor next door said, "Who's sick? We smelled Vicks all night." I couldn't smell it. Now, when you can't smell Vicks, there's definitely something going on with your olfactory system. So, with that being said, everybody's different, but usually, like, you lose a sense of taste and smell. Sometimes at the same time, sometimes not. What's wrong with Cynthia?
Oh, no.
Okay. Sometimes at the same time, sometimes with not. My biggest thing is COVID's been going around. I don't think it's going to leave, like Liz said. I think it's going to be around for a very, very, very long time. I think you should get used to masks. I think you should wear them. I think you should continue to wash your hands on a regular basis. That's going to save a lot of lives in the long run. Wash your hands, use protective gear. PPE is it. I think we all need to do that. And we still might get infected.
We still might get infected.
Sorry, get vaccinated. That's just, there are no other ways to look at it. If you don't want to get vaccinated, still just make sure that you wash your hands on a regular basis. It's a virus. Virus lives on things.
And viruses mutate.
Viruses mutate. So people think I'm crazy, but I'm known at my school as the COVID Nazi. I literally, after every class, I will spray it down. I wipe off door handles. You just have to do those sorts of things to stay healthy and to stay safe. And yeah, I do it, and I will continue to do it until I don't have to do it anymore. And I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon. A lot of people say that you should definitely start taking vitamins. If you don't take multivitamins, if you don't take vitamin C, if you don't take elderberry, if you don't take any of those things, take them, especially during flu season. This is flu season. This is definitely COVID season. COVID season doesn't go away. So like I said, knowing where it came from, it started in 2019. That's a great thing. Started in China, right?
We know that from your past president.
I know that from what number was he? I don't even remember. Isn't that bad? Okay. Anyway, we learned that from our past president. But it was something that was detected a long time ago, but it wasn't in humans. Now it's in humans. Guys, it's here. It's not going anywhere. Please protect yourself.
Thank you, Makiba. Cynthia, we're going to quickly, because we don't have time for anything else. And there was like 4 more.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. We just got
No, it isn't.
On the teachers union, which should have been 3 minutes. I thought we would come to a decision. Cynthia, if you're prepared to give us the economic impact of COVID, you may not be, because I know you have a bunch of people there working. We see them. If you don't, I can do it. Let me know. She can't hear me. Can you hear me?
No,
okay.
No.
Okay, so the economic impact of COVID-19.
The economic impact. I'm sorry. I hear you now.
Okay, can you give it to us? Just the bullets. We don't have time for the whole thing.
Well, I mean, you can go on and start, Janice, because I'm sort of off because I'm not used to my telephone.
No, you used to. I see those people walking around in the back doing your house. Anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, so the economic impact of COVID. We only have a few more minutes left. Small business revenue is down 20%. It's probably down lower than that. I think this was done probably last year because a lot of businesses, particularly
wait.
Restaurant.
Let's start with that. Small business revenue is down 20%. Okay, small business revenue is down, but it didn't tell you the impact of small business closing. Because we have lost a lot of businesses, small and large.
The restaurant, the
hospitality period.
Hospitality period
Yes.
has really been getting killed, and even the ones that were able to open up for a minute, now they're having the same problem.
Right.
And Janice, even when you go to hotels and things, they don't even clean your room every night.
I know.
Because they don't have staff.
There's not staff anywhere. There's no
staff anywhere.
There's no bus drivers. There's nobody.
That's right. The bus drivers, the staff is just, and then
airplanes canceling flights because of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they say weather, but we know it's because of COVID.
1.4 less million women are in the workforce due to COVID also. Having to take care of their children because daycares are closed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's no joke.
Well, not only that, in the cities where the teachers are staying at home and the kids have to stay at home too, what are those people doing? Makiba, if you had a child who was school age and if you couldn't go to work because you got to take care of the child, that's problematic too. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold your job indefinitely. We understand childcare, but
Janice, I would suggest, because we only got 5 minutes left.
We don't even have 5 minutes.
And we need to pick this up again next week.
I agree.
Because we got too much more that we really need to discuss.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just my suggestion, Janice.
So workers? What? I'm sorry. I didn't say that loud.
I went to CVS the other day. I went to CVS this morning, as a matter of fact. They have those new little scan things. They had nobody in the store that worked there.
Are you kidding? Well, someone told me, I didn't see it with my own eyes. They go to McDonald's for coffee every morning. They said they went this one morning and it wasn't open because they didn't have no workers.
I believe that.
McDonald's?
And in fact,
that was Benny.
They stayed at
the McDonald's on 38th Street.
I said McDonald's.
He went there for his morning coffee and thing, and he says the place was closed. So he goes and asks the manager, "What happened? What happened?"
I know somebody.
And they said they had nobody show up for work.
They had on the news
They were sick.
Walmart in Gwinnett closed down because they were cleaning up and scrubbing down for COVID. So they closed down yesterday, opened up again this morning at 6.
And I just went to Boston Chicken to pick up some chicken.
Mm-hmm.
They're so low on staff, they only open up after 3 p.m.
Oh my God.
And one of my friends out there. And one of our friends, they have a small pizza and wing place. And they had to close for a week because so many of the workers got COVID. So they were closed for a week.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like it's hitting Chicago too, because Mary
King,
Anderson was right down for me, and she said Burger King. I'm like, what?
I love Burger King.
Oh,
we went there the other day and it was
you
bad.
know what? This is, how am I going to do this? Okay, unless I already have 2 guests next week, unless I do a 2-hour next week.
Or you could do a special edition.
I could do a special edition. Yeah, because we didn't even get half of it. We didn't get to the COVID stuff because of CTU.
Hey, Makiba, Carolyn wanted some more information on what do you do about people that aren't vaccinated? How do you deal with
Walmart, no cash register?
So to be honest with you, I think we all have choices. Some people are vaccinated, some people are not. The problem is, I think that's one of the reasons that they keep mutating. You notice that we started off with one COVID strand, and now we've got like 16 different variants. Right, okay, so I'm exaggerating, but what I'm saying is, I think that's why. Now we don't really even have coverage for the what's it called? The Omarion? I can't remember what it's called.
Omicron.
Omicron. That's so funny. I had somebody call me anyway. So what do? We just protect ourselves. If we continue to wash our hands, if we continue to wipe down our areas, bleach is our friend. It used to not be. It used to be really bad for us, especially with asthma and all those other things.
Right.
You got to invest in those sorts of things because you have to take care of your home. I honestly, when I come home, I strip and put on new clothes. I don't want any of that stuff in the air to get to
you.
So basically, you have to act like everybody else has it.
Yes, yes.
Until
seriously, that's for real.
Social distance, y'all.
Yeah. I mean, I treat everybody like they have it.
That's real talk. I mean, that's real talk, Makiba. I mean,
I don't know how people date.
That's real talk.
Mm-hmm. How do you date now? That's another topic.
Zoom.
Dating during COVID.
Through Zoom. You date through Zoom.
You date through Zoom.
Zoom. That's right. Virtual dating. And that's a different show.
Okay, so it's 6:59. You're right. So we are going to, you guys stay on. I'm going to have to close down the broadcast in about a minute, but we are going to have to schedule another discussion. I'm going to see if I can move
some a special show.
Yeah, huh?
You have to do a special show. I definitely come back.
No, I would do it. I'm going to contact the people who I have scheduled and see if I can push them out. That'll put me through the end of January. So, but We want to thank everyone. And boy, the conversation, I love when you guys make the comments and we can comment back and forth and kind of dialogue. Thank you so much for making the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Voice of Change. And thank my sisters. I got all my sisters.
Sisters.
I
Sisters.
also have brothers too, man. If I bring them on, the place will really be full.
Oh my gosh. We would have got through half.
You have some brothers.
Yeah, I do have brothers. So, but we want to
We
thank
have
you.
brothers.
Come back next week, same time. I will post something and you'll know what's going on. But we're going to definitely finish this conversation. We didn't even get halfway through it because of that damn Chicago Teachers Union. I cannot believe that took all this time. Thank you.
You know what?
again.
It was something that needed to be talked about. I'm telling you.
Yep, I can't believe it took that long. And have who is this, Makiba?
That's Sheila.
Sheila.
And have a blessed week. Have a blessed week.